Namaste, everybody. Bruce here from RootsofLife.org. Thank you so much for joining me this week. And in this week's video, I want to dive into the topic of what I've learned so far with my journey with Reiki. Now, some of you may know my backstory. Maybe some of you are seeing me now for the first time, but I just want to state here at the beginning of this video that I have been practicing Reiki officially since 2006. However, like I'm sure that resonates with most of you watching, I can distinctly remember times as a boy when I could feel the energy and I was using the hand placements to turn in to that sensation. So in reality, what I like to say, and what really resonates with me, is that I've actually been a lifelong practitioner of Reiki, or student of Reiki is a better way to say it. And on that journey, I've learned some things. I've learned some things about myself. I've learned some things about the practice of Reiki, and I've learned some things about the journey in general that I thought I would share here, because perhaps what I've learned and what I've seen on my own journey will help you on your own journey as well. So here we are. I've been practicing Reiki officially since 2006. So what is that? Quick math, 16 years. But again, like I'm saying at the beginning of the video, it's been with me my whole life. And on that journey, what I've noticed and what I've come to recognize is that healing is a mindset. Okay. And let me explain how that first came to be. I used to suffer from debilitating anxiety. Really intense health anxiety, stress, anxiety that was just kind of derived from stress. And this is literally how it was for me. I would have days where, your mind, if any of you have anxiety, panic attacks and so on, I feel you, I know this space all too well. Those days where your mind is just racing, it won't stop. You're kind of ruminating over thoughts and worries and belief of things that just haven't happened or happened so far in the past, yet we're still stuck onto them. And I couldn't find a way out. Like a mind that is anxious feels like a rat in a cage. At least it did to me. It felt like there was no way for my brain to find rest. And it got really tiring. And then slowly, I started to recognize a moment in my day. I started to recognize this moment when I would wake up in the morning. I'd get up, stretch, get out of bed, and I would go about my day and I would feel light. Even if it was just for a couple minutes, most likely it was just for a couple minutes. But I would feel light and kind of carefree and like, wow, this can kind of take on the world today. And then the old friend of anxiety would come creeping back and be like, oh, hey, welcome back. Welcome back, belief and story and memory. It's nice to have you. I appreciated those 3 minutes that you weren't there. And now you're back. And so now we can continue on with another day of ruminating in anxiety and worry. So what's the key? What have I learned? Reiki and healing are a mindset, or a state of being of the mind. I started to recognize that in the morning, before the stories of anxiety and worry crept back in, there was peace. So if there's peace then why is there not peace now? Right? That's the question that I started to ask myself. And that was a turning point for me. That was a turning point in my life, in my healing, in my journey, and in my understanding with Reiki. Because it started to help me to see that if I drop the story, then I drop the attachment, right? And if we can start to find those little gains, those little victories, then we start moving our energy towards a new trajectory, right? So when we're thinking about our practice of Reiki, and when we're thinking about the way that maybe Reiki heals, or how Reiki moves, or, there's all these different nuanced expressions of Reiki that we can explore from maybe analytical or logical approaches or even metaphysical approaches. But if we can start to frame that entire discussion of the function of Reiki and the effects of Reiki as the impact on our state of mind, then I think we can very quickly start to turn the page on our own kind of suffering, and we can really accelerate our own ability to heal. I mean, I say this all the time in my videos, and I say this all the time with my students. Literally, isn't that what we do each and every night when we sleep? We drop the story and we heal, right? So if there's one thing that I've learned over my entire career of Reiki and indeed holistic wellness, and if that one thing really allowed me to take off and dive into the practice, it's mindset. It's where is the mind during the practice, right? I know that I say this quite a lot. I know that there's a lot of my videos that focus on this. Why is that the case? Because the mind is a tricky, tricky beast. Again, I'm saying this as somebody who has overcome debilitating health anxiety and panic attacks and anxiety disorders and all sorts. The mind is a beast that constantly needs to be worked on, to be tamed. And it's not that we tame it and force it into submission, but it's that we frame an existence around a state of simplicity and stillness inside, right? So we're not battling and fighting with our mind. We're not wrestling with it and trying to make it shut up. And, I think this is one of the kind of downfalls or shortcomings in the way that a lot of meditative and mindfulness practices are taught. Those who are new to the practice might think that you sit down and your mind is quiet. Well, my mind can't get quiet because I have an anxiety disorder, so what am I supposed to do? I guess I can't meditate. No, that's not the case. Simply show up. Part of your mindset is showing up and doing your work, right? So if you show up, you do your work, you sit down, practice Reiki, practice meditation, do your yoga, whatever it might be. By showing up, you're starting to create a mindset of stillness and simplicity inside. And see that chaotic mind can still exist and can still be in turmoil, yet because your overarching ethos is now about simplicity and stillness, then it simply is noise that we are allowing to exist, right? And as soon as we allow it to exist, we start to recognize that we stop the story, or we stop the attachment or the belief, right? And as soon as those things are gone, well then, where's the busy mind? The busyness of the mind has nothing to hold it. And so it's like wind. It's like the breeze blowing past. We can't catch it. We can't hold on to it. And so we don't even try, right? And as soon as we start to not try, that's the stillness and the simplicity inside, right? Once the mind has no one to listen to it, it will quiet down. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that I've recognized or learned on my Reiki journey so far with my practice, again, of these 16 years, but kind of spanning my entire life. It's always been a healing modality that's been with me. And it's gotten me through to date. I hope it's gotten me through, and I hope it's enough, but we'll see. I don't know what's in store for me, but to date, Reiki has gotten me through some big life lessons and some big obstacles. And what was the overarching thread that bound all of my ability to move through those issues or those obstacles? It was the simplicity and the stillness of the mindset that Reiki can create. So if we view Reiki from the perspective of a still mind and a quiet body, well then the craziness of our attachment will start to fade. And the resistance that craziness brings forward, we will become less and less affected by it. And so if there's one thing that I hope that this video elicits, or at least brings to the surface as a talking point or a point of consideration in your own practice, is to constantly ask, what's your state of mind? Reiki gives us a beautiful indication that this is indeed the path. Think about the hand placements. How do we start? Position 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We work on the head first, because if our mindset is busy, nothing else can happen, right? For me, it was a literal game changer in the way that I viewed Reiki, the way I viewed my health, the way I viewed even my anxiety. It allowed me to, in a way, it allowed me to like cozy up and befriend my anxiety. And I know that might sound weird, or it might sound a little bit strange, but that's what happened. I think that the anxiety that I was suffering from, when I look back on it retrospectively, it's not necessarily the anxiety that was the problem, but it was the war. It was the internal friction. It was my fear of actually looking at myself because I was afraid perhaps of what I would find. I bet that's going to resonate with you or perhaps your clients. The friction that not facing yourself creates because of the fear of what you might find. However, just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will be kind. Just for today, I will be grateful. And just for today, I will do my work honestly. So if we take all of those precepts at heart, then what do we have to be afraid of when we face ourselves? Nothing, right? And when we face ourselves and finally recognize there was nothing there that we needed to fear, well, then the mindset becomes calm and quiet, and the internal environment becomes calm and quiet, and we simply arrive at a being that is, always was, and always will be Reiki. So I hope that helps everybody. Thank you so much for your support of my channel here on YouTube. If you like the video and you like my channel, I'm very grateful for your subscription. And any questions that may have come up from the video, please put them in the comments section below and I'll be sure to come back to you. As always, to everybody, be well and In Gassho.